Hey everyone, I'm super excited here. I'm going to start my MCU reviews and rankings. So 23 films. I'm going to watch through each one of them again. I've seen each one of them a handful of times. So it's always exciting to see something new in a film you haven't seen before. And the point of this, I think, is to really kind of give a different perspective, and maybe you guys go back, watch it yourselves. Maybe notice a few things a little bit different after you get my perspective on it. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right into the first Iron Man, starring Robert Downey Jr., directed by Jon Favreau. So, let's check it out. Alright, so right off the bat, if you haven't seen this film, pause this video, go watch it, and come back, and then we can talk about it. So I don't want to ruin this for anyone, especially the MCU experience is awesome. If you've never seen an MCU film, that's amazing. You can go sit down, watch all 23. I think it takes a little over 2 days. There will be some spoilers, so if you have not seen it, do not watch this. So right off the start, Tony Stark is a weapons manufacturer. He's a super genius. They try to establish that right in the beginning of the film. He's doing a weapons test somewhere in the Middle East, and he gets ambushed, and he gets shrapnel into his chest, and he's kidnapped by some terrorists. And then he ends up getting a electric magnet in his chest to keep the shrapnel from going to his heart. And throughout this, he meets a character named Yusuf, who he actually met in a prior movie. You'll find that out later. So Tony has to create an Iron Man suit to get himself out of this situation with the terrorists. He does that. He manages to leave. He gets himself back home. He creates a new suit. It's improved. It's super cool. It can fly. It can do a whole bunch of stuff, way more than the first suit. I'm not going to give a full recap of the movie, but that's kind of the general gist of what's going on. So let's jump right into the actual review categories.
Let's get this show on the road.
You know, it's not that bad.
Let's talk about the story here. So the story's really interesting, and when I really thought about how to write this little script here, I thought about three main things. If you watch most superhero movies, there's three things that are kind of universal. The main hero is always really likable. He's always has a secret identity, and he's always super strong and can beat up anyone. So Iron Man's kind of the complete opposite to that. He's not that likable. He doesn't hide his identity, and he's not the strongest character. So in this world that Iron Man exists in, he's only super powerful because he's incredibly smart. He's a genius. He has incredible engineering skills, and that allows him to create this suit, and he wins his fights by being more knowledgeable. And even at the end of the movie, one of the best scenes in the MCU is I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
He doesn't hide who he is, and I think that's super cool to see a superhero movie where they totally change up the story. So story for me is a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason I can't give it a 5 out of 5 is because the arc reactor in his chest, there's some continuity issues where a few times they say it powers his heart. And then yet in the beginning they explain that it's an electromagnet that just keeps shrapnel away from his heart, from going back into his heart, which it doesn't quite make sense because they say it powers his, like a few scenes they do say it powers his body, but yet it doesn't work that way. So it's basically a battery. So I think there's some continuity issues there. But yeah, so 4.5 out of 5. Acting. So the acting to this film was awesome. After watching it again, I tried to pay attention to some of the nuances to the actors and to pay attention to the secondary actors like Jeff Bridges and Gwyneth Paltrow. After watching it and actually trying to pay attention and look for that stuff, I thought Jeff Bridges' character, Obadiah Stane, was awesome. I think he's a weak villain in general, but I think his acting is spot on. It's perfect for that role. And after rewatching it again, I mean, I couldn't think of anyone else that could have casted for that. And so those secondary characters actually do a really good job. I think Terrence Howard's acting for Rhodey was really good. I would have liked to have seen him continue as Rhodey. In the second Iron Man, they actually switched to Don Cheadle, who, I mean, I love Don Cheadle. I think he does a great job. But I think Terrence Howard did a really great job in that first one, and I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to Rhodey's character after rewatching some of these and see if I feel like Terrence Howard might have been able to do a little bit better.
I'm sorry, because I could be wrong right now. But I'm right.
That I hate when actors change roles in future films like that, but I think Terrence Howard played a really good part there. So acting, I'm going to give a fairly high rating of a 4.8 out of 5. Writing. So the writing to this film is well done. I don't think there's anything that I would have personally taken out. I think the only thing I would have liked to have seen different is the continuity with the arc reactor in the chest. And I already mentioned that. That's really the only flaw, I think, that I can remember in this film. So writing, I'm going to have to give a 4.5 out of 5. Effects. So the effects to this movie. This is a movie that was made in 2008. Yet when I watch it in 2020, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I don't feel like there's anything that's not there or could even be improved. I do believe that this Iron Man had an actual suit, so it's not all CGI'd like they do in the later films like Infinity War, but the suit looks super realistic. I mean, even when they're moving flaps around that you definitely know are CGI'd, it's really well done, and it looks 100% real. The effects on this movie, I'm going to give a high score of a 4.8 out of 5. Quality and genre. When I try to rate a movie on quality and genre, I think, does it have rewatchability? I've personally probably seen Iron Man 1 at least 10 times, and it has a ton of rewatchability. I think this is one of the best superhero movies ever made, and I'm going to have to score this a 5 out of 5. Alright, final scores. So after going through and tallying up my scores, this film came out for me to a 94%. So a 23.5 out of 25 and a total of a 94%. That's really high. I think this film is totally worth it. If you personally know someone who hasn't seen any of the MCU films, or maybe one or two, and they haven't seen this one, I definitely recommend showing them this film. Everyone seems to like it. I even showed this to my girlfriend's little brother, and he loved it. Out of all the MCU films, and he's seen every one except for, I think, the Hulk, and this is one of his favorites. So I think a lot of people really like this film, even if you aren't connected to this MCU film genre or universe. You can still sit down and enjoy this film as an independent movie. Rankings. Alright guys, are you ready? Iron Man 1 is going to fall at number 1. So it's the only movie I have on the ranking. Next movie that's going to go on the rankings is going to be Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. So that's hopefully going to be up in the next couple days. So try to stay tuned for that. Thanks for checking out the channel, and we'll see you next time. He played a great part. I really love his character. But even not the main roles. I mean, the sub roles, they were great too. Sub roles. What does it look like if this is on? I forgot that made noise.